Hello everybody, welcome back to more Pokemon Heartgold Soulsilver. Right now we're in the Battle Coliseum and I have the other player waiting using my Fire Red team right now. We're going to be going into post-commentary during each battle just like how it was last time. And yeah, that's all I can really say. Right now I'm going to be using my Heartgold versus my Fire Red team. And then we're going to get the Soulsilver versus Fire Red team. And then we're going to get the Heartgold versus Soulsilver team. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And let's just go into it right now. So we're going to be going into post-commentary. Battle starts immediately, full 6-on-6. Alright, this is me in post-commentary looking at this. We're going to speed things up a bit, just like 1.15, because these battles are very long. It's a full 6-on-6 like I previously mentioned. So my friend here is going to lead out with Beaked, which I found to be very odd, but I led out with Venus. I expected something different. And that's going to be something seen a lot commonly, is that the way I used to use these teams, or that I used to use Fire Red, is a lot different than how he uses it. So I got caught off guard a bit, especially with this first time. He predicted that I was going to switch out with Pursuit, which also was like very, very smart of him. I go for the switch for Lumina. Right now, like, Pursuit was a move that I didn't really keep on Beaked for a reason. It was just kind of there because I needed it. But it actually worked out quite well in the online play, so I gotta give him props for using Pursuit effectively. He's gonna withdraw Beaked, and probably because, you know, we had a Lumina. I thought about calling the switch by using something else, but then I realized I could just probably use the switch as a stockpile, which I do here. It's going to switch to Dig Dug, our Dug Trio, and I'm not really a big fan of that switch. Usually Dig Dug is used as a revenge killer, not a switch killer. But, I mean, I guess it kind of worked because it was free, and also it's very fast. One stockpile I felt like should be enough here. And with 278 HP, you know, like, we're levels, what? Like, that's a high level. Yeah, it's going to take us low below half. I thought about just trying to get like as many rare candies as possible to try and get everybody level 100, but then I realized how many hours that would take in the facility or Pokeathlon. I used all my points in the Pokeathlon to get a bunch of rare candies just to get them to level 70, so I knew it was going to take a lot more. Pokeathlon was something that I grinded a lot. It's probably the reason why I have so many hours in this. I mean, like, normally, you know, I could probably finish this game in about, like, I don't know, I would say, like, full playthrough like I did this time, I would probably say, like, 60 hours, but I have, like, at least 70. I'm gonna switch to Bulbapedia, and I really didn't know what to think about the switch. I knew he was going for the Seed Bomb, in which I gave it through the Battle Frontier because I needed a move for it, because I had to take it off because of, the transfer that I had to go through. I had to get rid of Flash, and then I also had to replace the attacking move, which I didn't like. It was all sorts of things. He does go for the Seed Bomb, takes me out. Critical hit, you know, probably would have KO'd me anyway, so I didn't think too much about it. And at this point, I'm just like, okay, one Pokemon down. And I really tried to decide. I have so many ways of taking down grass types that I was just like, what way do I want to go for it? I want to try and set up the Flame Orb Guts on Beetlejuice. That's why I send him out. And then I realized, well, Megahorn has raw power, it's neutral, but I could probably go. I didn't think Aerial Ace was going to KO, so I thought Megahorn was the best play, that I could get a KO plus burn, so I could just kind of go into a new Pokemon fresh. And the Megahorn does hit, thankfully. We've had an accuracy problem with 75% accurate moves a lot. And he hits a Sleep Powder. One of the reasons that I love Bulbasaur is the Sleep Powder, Healing, Toxic, and then it's such a time waster. And I really don't know what to. Once my Pokemon get put to sleep, I really, like, there's nothing he can really do to me. But also at the same time, there's nothing, I don't want to wait for the sleep. I want to switch out and try and just take it down as fast as possible, because if I let Bulbapedia heal, it has Synthesis, which he uses right here, which is a good play. I don't want that happening. But also at the same time, it kind of gives us a free switch and no damage. It doesn't heal it all the way because there's no sunny day. I don't have any sort of weather on any of my Fire Red teams, which I probably should have sunny day if I try to use Synthesis, but the loadout I have on Bulbapedia was Seed Bomb, Sleep Powder, Synthesis, and Toxic, and I am more than happy with that. If I find Sleep Powder not to be the most effective way of draining somebody's health, I can use Toxic and then Synthesis. Like, there's so many ways that you could use Bulbapedia in this situation. The one-tap Psychic does get him to go down, though. And a lot of this is just waiting for the communication. Online play, you know, always gotta wait for that, which is probably the slowest part. And he's gonna send out his own evolution. Blitz and Bam, the Jolteon that I also love. And I'm not gonna lie, I honestly forgot that this thing had Shadow Ball, so I just kind of stayed in, not thinking about it, and it's gonna use the Shadow Ball right here. It also outsped me, which is, thankfully it should have, because it's a Jolteon. And it's gonna do a little bit more than half. About 100 HP. And I go for my Psychic, we just kind of get each other down below half with this. And I know that it outspeeds me, but also at the same time, I don't want to switch into something else. So there was really nothing I could switch into. I check here, and I'm just like, okay, well, actually, I just kind of like thought about it, but like, there's nothing I could really switch into, because if it was using Shadow Ball, I was taking damage no matter what. I thought about Heracross, but then like, fighting doesn't work against Ghost, but Ghost can hit fighting, which I've always found to be kind of weird. And then somehow, miraculously, I survive, even though, like, it must have just been a good damage roll last time. Because there's no way I should have survived this. It did 100 damage last time, and then it only did 86. Like, it must have hit the top of the damage roll, and then the bottom of the damage roll. I really... Yeah, I don't know. I should have been taken down. I think that was what really kind of swayed this fight into... Whoops, that was my pen. That's what kind of swayed the fight into my favor, was that. Because now he's got a wasted move with this Hot Dog. He's going to go with the Extreme Speed. The obvious choice. And it's going to knock out my Espeon. But reality is that, like, that Jolteon should still be out there. That Jolteon should be alive, and Amethyst should be the one down. Hot Dog shouldn't have even been brought in. But because of that... I don't know what to do here. I go for Kairu and I try and set up a Dragon Dance. I go for my little Dragon Dance strategy that's been working this entire time. And just, it's unbeatable. Especially when you have something like competitive play. Like, his Intimidate has already been used. So I don't have to worry about being +1 speed, but neutral in attack. I could be +1 both. Just gonna use a Flamethrower right there. And honestly, I think Flamethrower would do more damage than Strength, which I also had. Hot Dog's moveset was Iron Tail, Extreme Speed, Strength, and Flamethrower. And I honestly think, like, I actually don't know what was doing more damage. I think Flamethrower was, but then, like, he starts going for Strength because of the, it wasn't very effective. And I think that's what kind of threw him off. But, like, yeah, so he's going to go for a Strength here. So if we could do, like, a little... calculation. So that Flamethrower took him to about 40. And that one did about like 50. So yeah, I think Strength was doing a little bit more. I Dragon Dance here again. I got a little bit risky. Knowing that he had Extreme Speed and could just go for a priority move anytime. Which, honestly, I think should have probably KO'd me. So another Strength here he goes for. And honestly, if he went for like 2 Extreme Speeds, I actually probably would have been KO'd. Because I'm at 80 right here. And I know that he has Extreme Speed. And I'm like, can I survive this? I don't know. So then I stopped Dragon Dancing. I stopped messing around. And he does hit that Extreme Speed. Thinking that he's possibly in KO range. And I honestly thought he was too. But it's going to leave me at 22 HP. And so unfortunate for him that I got up to +3. Like, I honestly don't know what he was supposed to do there. I mean, he could have switched, but also at the same time, that gives me a free opportunity. I think he was just trying to trip me down, but none of the other Pokemon have any sort of priority moves, so there's nothing he could do. And at that point, it's just, yeah. He did, I'm not sure, this point, yeah, he still had Kazuya. He could have switched into Kazuya, but then also at the same time, like, I could have used my wing attack. So it was just kind of like, I think at this point in the game it was a lost. Like I'm saying, that Amethyst surviving on 2 HP was ultimately what won me this fight. And I refuse to believe otherwise. So I go for the little quick attack here, 1-tap Kazuya, and unfortunately I gotta hear that red bar playing the entire time. I know, it's super annoying, but what can I say? And down to the final Pokemon. I gotta say, the Fire Red team did keep up very well. It just had some unfortunate damage rolls. Beaked is the last one, the Pokemon he let out with. And I'm just like, yeah, just Outrage or something or whatever. My controller had a little bit of a mishap here, so I'd use my mouse. And then Outrage. Beaked goes down. And Heartgold takes the first W from this round robin tournament thing that I was doing. And that's kind of what I expected. I mean, I built this team, and it's kind of overpowered. A lot of the Pokemon I built are just so heavy on sweeping, and it just happened to be that Kairu got the sweep here. And I was, like, you knocked out 2.5, I would say, right there. But yeah, on to the next fight. Now, this next fight is between the Fire Red team and the Soulsilver team. Two teams that we haven't seen a lot of. Well, I mean, you have seen a lot of Fire Red Leaf Green, but it's not being used by me. I am going to be using my Fire Red team, going to get a second chance, and the Soulsilver team is going to be used by the other opponent. Now, he's going to lead out with Tyranitar, and I really like this. It sets up weather immediately, and I lead out with Kazuya. I did this a lot in Fire Red, so it just kind of made sense, and also, like, I have a lot of type coverage. Now, I know he's probably going to switch out here, so I don't know who he's going to switch out to, so I don't want to use Brick Break, because I know he's probably going to switch out into his Psychic type, because Darude is quad weak to fighting. You know, it makes sense. So I go for a Surf here in hopes that I could switch into something in which he goes for something neutral. And that's exactly what happens. He switches into Houdini, the Alakazam. Now, I don't really know too much about this. I mean, I thought that my Kazuya was a lot faster than it was. So this Surf doesn't really do anything, and the Sandstorm's going to be here the entire time. It's something that just kind of... It's an annoying thing. I have Pokemon on my team like Scizor, or not my team, on the other team like Scizor and Darude itself that can stand up to the Sandstorm. There's nobody on my team other than Digdug that can stand up to that. And Digdug's sort of a like revenge Pokemon kind of thing, so not something you just want to switch into. I want to switch into somebody, but I don't know who. But so I just kind of sit here and I take it, and he goes for a Psychic. I thought I outsped him, I didn't. And that's unfortunately my fault. And I think this one-shots us? Yes, it does. Houdini is a very powerful beat. Now, I already know who I want to switch into right here. I believe I switch into Blitz and Bam, looking over this in the post. Like, it's been a day since I've done this, so if I don't remember directly what I did yesterday, oh well. And I actually switched into Digdug here, which is a little bit weird. I would have probably, like, thinking back on this, I probably would have switched into Blitz and Bam because, like, it had Shadow Ball, but I don't know what I did here. I go for an Earthquake. I think I'm trying to go for a one-shot Earthquake and then see. Like, I'm trying to use Digdug how it's supposed to be used as a revenge killer, but looking back on it, like, that wasn't the time to use it there. I mean, Earthquake probably will kill here, but unfortunately it does not. I leave it on 1 HP, which means Digdug also goes down, unfortunately. Down to 2 Pokemon like that, it's rough, to say the least. I don't have any sort of Pokemon that can quick attack or have any sort of priority other than my Arcanine, and it has extreme speed. That's like a powerful move. But Houdini does get knocked out to the Sandstorm, which means we both send out our Pokemon at the same time. We don't see beforehand, so it's just kind of like, okay, pick your best bet. Who do you think's coming out? And I believe right here I picked Bulbapedia, yes. Bulbapedia, like I mentioned, very good staller. I wanted to stall something I didn't know he was going to send out. And unfortunately, or fortunately for me, he sends out Darude. Probably because he wanted to like reinstate weather. Well, actually the weather never left. Probably sent that out to be a big scary guy. I go for a sleep powder here. I know he's probably switching, but also at the same time I want to set up a status condition. I know he has a steel type on his team, he could probably switch to that, so sleep powder is probably my best bet here. And right here he takes a little while because he's switching, you know. But he's actually going to switch into Squidward, which I thought was weird. Obviously it is neutral because it's part poison type. I missed the sleep powder, which sucks. And at this point in time, I actually forgot that I had Ice Beam on it. I had Ice Beam on 2 Pokemon. And yeah, it just wasn't good. So I believe I stay in here. And I go for either another sleep powder. I go for another sleep powder. He sets up a Toxic Spikes. Now, this actually did come into play a little bit later. Just because of my Pokemon having to switch out. I get the sleep powder. It's put to sleep. And I just start chipping it down. With Seed Bomb being neutral, it's fine. Although that part poison type did suck because I actually wanted to go for a Toxic here. Felt like that was more effective. Pokemon in which I don't have Pokemon in which I have a type disadvantage, like let's say if I was going up against like, I don't know, a fire type, or let's say I was going up against another grass type. That's when I want to use Toxic, because I can't do reliable damage to that. I can't do good damage is what I would put that as. So I feel like Toxic would be more reliable damage over time because it gets increasingly stronger. And at that point, it's just using Synthesis and just stalling it out, which is what I tried to do, but I have to Sleep Powder and Seed Bomb here instead. And he surprisingly kept it in. There's just a little bit of explanation. He's just trying to wait for it to wake up so he can just Ice Beam, but it never woke up, so he kind of had to pay the price. And I get what I would consider a lucky KO there. At any time, he probably could have switched, and I would have been screwed. Now, this next switch in, I'm going to have to fast forward because we went at this for a long time. He's going to switch into Scizor. And I don't know what I was thinking before, but I kept in Bulbapedia this entire time. And I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I put it to sleep. Alright, that was my original idea. I couldn't Toxic it because it's part Steel and you can't poison Steel types. And I got the Sleep Powder down, I was like, okay, I could just chip it down. Boy, was I wrong. Like, quad weak. I was just trying to chip it down when it was quad weak, and it was just not working. I want you to see how much this first Seed Bomb does. And it was just tragic. I don't know what I was thinking at this time. So, this first Seed Bomb, it's gonna do so little damage. It did that much. I'm pretty sure, like, it did like 20 damage. And my dumb ass thought that I could chip it down. Oh yeah, by the way, it's not taking Sandstorm damage either. I'm the only one taking damage. So this was just a stupid play by me. I switch. Thankfully. No. I know I switch at some point. I don't know why I didn't switch. I don't know why I didn't switch, don't ask me. At any point in time, I could have switched to Hot Dog. It was asleep. But I didn't. I think I waited a few turns too late to switch, and then it woke up, and then that's how it played out, but I don't know what I was thinking here. I really don't. I make the smart play. I finally switched to Hot Dog, what I should have done last turn. And at that point, like, he was going for the same thing in which he wanted to just wake it up. I forgot the Poison Spikes were there, so Hot Dog is going to come in poisoned. It does intimidate the Scizor, which I do enjoy because the entire time he was just waking up and trying to set up a Swords Dance upon waking up. And I think that's where he stops, is once I send out Flamethrower. It's not Flamethrower, Hot Dog. I was going to plan on using a Flamethrower, but, like, I don't know just why. I should have done it a turn earlier, so Scizor can, like, still have multiple turns of sleep left, but I just don't do that. So I go for the flamethrower here, and withdraws Scissor. Perfect play. Not something I would have done because, you know, I should have done that long ago. And I go for a flamethrower. So the flamethrower is going to get hit Darude. And I have Iron Tail on Hot Dog, which is super effective against Darude. Darude is Rock Dark, and Rock is weak to Steel. So I was like, okay, hold on. What if I could get an unexpected KO? Even though Darude has massive HP, what if I just also get lucky? So I take my chances here. I'm like, okay, I could maybe go for an Iron Tail, chip it down. I don't have any other Pokemon at this point other than Venusaur that can take down Darude effectively. So this Iron Tail, I was like, in the long run, it might be good. But also at the same time, I'm like, wait. So it gets it down to half, but also at the same time, I completely forgot that Hot Dog, I needed to keep Hot Dog for Scizor. And that just completely went over my head. I was too risky with going for the Iron Tail. Stone Edge hits and crits, which is just adding insult to injury at this point. And I still haven't thought of Scizor yet. At this point, I'm just like, oh, okay, I lost Hot Dog. Okay, I could just switch to somebody else. Doesn't hit me yet. I go back to Bulbapedia because, like, I don't know. You know, it's the only reliable thing. I don't want him to keep Darude in. I want him to switch back out. So Bulbapedia comes in. Poison spikes are gone. No longer have to worry about that. I go for a Seed Bomb, I believe. Yes. I still have 5 syntheses, and I plan on using all of them to get that heal. I want to keep Bulbapedia in as long as possible. Withdraws Darude, and it's at this point that it hits me. Scizor. I forgot my method of dealing with Scizor. Now, I'm going to be quite frank with you. I'm even dumber at this point in time. I'm going to speed it up a bit. I'm going to speed it up to like 1.25. Not much, just because I want to talk over this, but why I stayed in so long with Bulbapedia. I didn't switch. I did not switch. Like, I thought about switching. I was like, okay. This entire time, I had... Let me see. I had Blitz and Bam. I could use, like, Thunderbolt or something like that. I had Beaked. I could use Drill Peck. Drill Peck was neutral. I had a neutral move against it, and I never just thought about it. Get to Swords Dance up. Now I'm like, okay, put it back to sleep. I outspeed it. Which I actually am quite surprised by. I expected Scizor to be a lot faster, but the fact that I outsped it was kind of crazy, in my opinion. But put it back to sleep. Sleep Powder doesn't miss. You know, Venus can learn a thing or two from not missing Sleeping Powders. Bulbapedia just seems to be a lot more reliable in hitting them. And here we go again, just into the Seed Bomb spiral. I really don't know what I was thinking here. I'm surprised, like, he could have switched, I could have switched, anything could have happened. And the one thing that happened was something that benefited neither of us. And I'm going to use my first synthesis right here. And yeah, I really shouldn't have just stayed in. I'm just obsessing over that fact. Go for another Seed Bomb, and I'm just like, okay. And I only chip it to, like, I don't even chip it to half. I barely get it to half. And yeah, at that point, I'm just gotta go. And I think it's at this point, I finally switch. Thank you. Looking at my past self, oh my god, what am I doing? Hits an X Scizor. It does a lot of damage. Oh my god. Now, I outspeed the Scizor. I could go for a Drill Peck. How much does a Drill Peck do here? I'm assuming that it does a lot more than I think. Drill Peck is a very powerful move. Could have gone for a Tailwind, I don't know, but that would have been stupid. Go for a Drill Peck. Look at this damage output. I could have done that the entire time. That is so much more effective than Seed Bomb. Night Slash takes me out. But here, I do not go back to Bulbapedia. I learned my lesson. This time, I went to Blitz and Bam, who hasn't been seen this entire fight. but guess what? Now you will see it. And just go for like a simple Thunderbolt. It's neutral. It's not very effective, but it will get the job done. And with Scissor down. Oh my god, the thing that has been tormenting me this entire time. I have 2 Pokemon left. I believe he has 3. Still a very winnable situation. Sends out Darude. Now, I thought I could try and Pin Missile this thing, and like it wasn't a bad thought. It was super effective. But Pin Missile is extremely weak. That was 1 Pin Missile. Okay, and you're probably like, how do I get to 2? Okay, but I only hit twice. I don't, like, it was a good idea. What if I crit or something? You know, it was a good idea. I don't know. I thought. Now, going down to a 1v3, this is actually a very good spot I was in. Bulbapedia, despite having a lot of PP drain from Seed Bomb spamming the Scizor, still had like 8 moves left, and as long as I could Sleep Powder or Toxic and stall out with Synthesis, I was completely fine with this. I was at 152, and Darude was up. I believe it still had the Coldplay, which we haven't seen once, and Salad, which we haven't seen once. Those are the last remaining Pokemon. Those are all Pokemon that I'm neutral against, which I can do good. So Seed Bomb, boom. Doesn't have any Pokemon to switch into. I believe, like, I thought Darude would outspeed, but Darude's very slow. That's one of the problems with it. So Bulbapedia outspeeds that. And it is now a 1v2 in which I am neutral. Or not very effective against Salad, but in which I am neutral to everything. And he tries sending out his neutral Pokemon as well, knowing that Salad is also a support and setup Pokemon. If this Coldplay goes down, I have won the game. And that is a 1v3 clutch. Now, Coldplay is level 75, which I don't remember getting that high level, to be completely honest. I think it happened like during the E4 challenge, because I kept using it to sweep everything in the Elite Four before the champion. I think that's how it worked. And yeah, and I think I used it a majority of the time on Red's fight, so I think that's also how that happened. But we put it to sleep. We still outspeed the Ampharos. We outspeed Coldplay. And that is crucial, because that sleep lets us not only put up Synthesis and we could Seed Bomb, we could do a whole lot of things. And I think I go for a Seed Bomb. I probably should have, I maybe would have gone for a Synthesis first turn, but like, you know. Either way I'm getting off a Synthesis. Either way, I'm getting off some damage. Now this Seed Bomb does a good amount of damage. Look, all the way below half. I believe that, yeah, that was a crit. I got a lucky crit right there. Even without a crit, I would have been done. I would have been good. Now, with that crit in mind and knowing that I outspeed it, I just go for the KO right here, make it a 1v1, heal when I'm on against Salad. And I started getting a little bit giddy at this point, because it was just like, I could actually clutch this. I go for a Synthesis right here. I have no idea why I went for a Synthesis right here. Like, looking back on it, like, in the moment, I felt smart, but now that I'm looking back on it, I was not smart. I probably should have just gone for the KO. 113 was more than enough. And I only get to 166, so, like, why does it even matter? But Coldplay is still asleep. I get away with it. At any point in time, it could have woken up, and it didn't. It gets buffeted by the hail, and I'm like, okay, you know, I could go for another synthesis and be at full, but no, I just go for the Seed Bomb, which I should have done in the turn before. Coldplay is down, and it's now a 1v1. Now, I would say it's kind of unfair, because, like, I know how these teams are played, and my friend, like, knows the Pokemon, but doesn't know the team dynamic. So he's just kind of sending out, like, things that he feels are good, just match up, not the dynamic of, like, the strategies that I built around. So when he was using my Fire Red team, like, he had the Sleep Powder stuff down and like that, but that was something that I've created and I know how to use. I know how to swap into it, out of it. The Dig Dug, he didn't really use that as a revenge killer. He swapped into it. Like, he knew how to use the Soulsilver team, though, because of the time before in Goldenrod. And, like, also at some points in time when I was too busy recording Heartgold Soulsilver, I would send the save state over to him, be like, hey, just get to this point in time, and he would. I know I played a majority of the Soulsilver, but he did a couple gyms. He did a couple leaders in Kanto. He actually did a majority of the leaders in Kanto, because I was too busy doing my part in Kanto, which had a lot to do. And actually, Salad and Bulbapedia's movesets are really similar. Seed Bomb, Synthesis, and Toxic, except the only difference is that Bulbapedia has Sleep Powder and Salad has Light Screen. So they're actually quite similar, and also the fact that Salad is a pure grass type rather than grass poison, so I can poison it. Only I had a grass type move. And that comes into play, because I'd rather use Toxic than Sleep Powder, because that does damage, whereas Sleep Powder does not. And at this point, I can outstall him. He has Synthesis, but he has no way of dealing more damage than me. I'm dealing more damage, and I am outstalling him. So at this point, this is also a win. The Fire Red team makes a 1v3 comeback. Bulbapedia, this is why I love Bulbapedia. Use Bulbapedia right, he can stall out teams, and he can draw it out until it is a winning position for him. It is just such a good Pokemon, and I love Venusaur. I am one of those people that think Bulbasaur is the best Kanto starter. Better than Charizard, better than Blastoise, Venusaur is #1. There's just such an effective strategy that you can use with Venusaur, whereas, like, yeah, sure, with Charizard you can get, like, power, and with Blastoise you can take up its tanking capabilities. But Bulbapedia has both of that. It tanks, stalls, and it does good damage. I just don't have a massive damage dealing layout on it. I mean, Seed Bomb, yeah, it does a lot of damage. But I could do also a lot of damage with Toxic, and then I could heal. The other two Pokemon can't heal. I can with Synthesis. And plus, if I have a different Pokemon with Sunny Day, that just makes it better. That's just adding to the team dynamic. So at this point in time, Toxic is doing about 1/3 of its health. And, like, just give up at that point. I do believe here he accidentally tries to use Poison Powder. Not Toxic, it was Poison Powder. No, he goes for another Synthesis. It's so... Trying to talk fast, like, it kind of, like, slurs the words. Synthesis. Like, it's the same thing, but, like, still. So, one more Seed Bomb here. Salad, it hangs on with about, like, 20 HP. The Reflect wears off, doesn't matter. And at this point in time, like, Toxic is gonna KO it next turn, on top of the Sandstorm. So, he's just kind of stalling the inevitable at this point. He does do a little bit of a misclick and hits Poison Powder. It wasn't Toxic that we have, it's Poison Powder. And honestly, like, it was a misclick, obviously, but, like, what are you gonna do about it? You can't keep using Synthesis. And just like that, Fire Red gains 1 win and 1 loss, so kind of middle of the road. And Soulsilver gains its first loss. And we defeat Lyra. I gotta say, that was a great 1v3 comeback from our Fire Red team. And also, I saved the video. I don't know, I was proud of it. I saved the video just to add insult to injury, I guess. But now it's time for our final fight. Our Heartgold team versus our Soulsilver team. And our last fight, our Heartgold versus our Soulsilver team. Now, as much as I wanted to show off our Soulsilver team more, there weren't that many instances in which, well, there were version exclusives. So, but hey, we get to see them now. And I kind of think this is a little bit unfair because I got to see the strategy being used the first time with the Fire Red team. And let's just say they didn't really switch it up. They let out with Darude to get the weather off immediately, and I had Beetlejuice in front. And I really wanted to get that off, I wanted to get that burn off, and so they switched to Houdini again, in which I probably could have, you know, gone for something, but like I went for a Mega Horn, it misses. I knew they were gonna switch out to somebody, and if that Mega Horn didn't miss, like, come on. But the burn does get off. I sped this one up also a little bit, not because of anything that just happens, but just because decision making, you know, it's just kind of boring to look at and talk over real quick. But try to figure out who I want to outspeed. I think I can outspeed Houdini. Goes for a Calm Mind. I don't know, like, I think they were expecting a switch because I was had a type disadvantage, but I thought I outsped Houdini naturally. But anyways, I mean, it was just kind of a weird play from both of us, and mine was just weirder, I guess. I mean, I feel like Calm Mind was a good play, but, you know, it just didn't work out like that. Now, this next Pokemon he's going to switch in, I believe, well, we got to go through the burn and all that stuff. Beetlejuice is going to take a lot of chip damage this fight. With the Sandstorm and the burn, it just kind of piles up, which is kind of what I expected. That's kind of how we've been using Beetlejuice the entire time. Pure power and just getting as many drawbacks from it and dealing with it. Sends out Scizor. This thing has been bothering me for a while. I actually like knowing its moveset. I don't know why he sent out Scizor. Maybe it's just off of type alone. Close combat's gonna be neutral, but we have Stab Guts. And here's to hopefully does not get the one shot, which means that Scizor will have a chance to get a move off. And goes for Swords Dance. I think he probably thought like it would outspeed. It doesn't. So just real interesting moves all around, I guess. Trying to set up in the worst possible way. Burn is going to take us to a little bit above half, and at this point, like, I outspeed it. My main issue is, oh, what if he does a last second switch? Don't think so. Go for an Air Release just to chip it off, and down 2 Pokemon, I believe, already. Not a good start for the Soulsilver team. I feel like this could have been done better. Just a lot of weird moves to set up. And Beetlejuice is going to take even more damage. I will admit, like, there is pure power with Houdini. The Calm Mind was probably just because they thought I was going to switch in. But I don't understand the Swords Dance Scizor. I really don't. So you're going to go for a Cold Play level 75. I mean, I'm static for its ability, pure electric type, with the moves Signal Beam, Cotton Spore, Light Screen, and Discharge. You know, just did a move set reveal off of a Pokemon that we've had. And Close Combat does not take out Cold Play. Leave it in the red, like -2 special defense and defense. Discharge is going to take out Beetlejuice, no doubt. And it's about time we finally got a Pokemon taken out. I feel this Heartgold Soulsilver team really might just be the best team in the Heartgold Soulsilver, just in general, to combat any team. Almost like, it's just so diverse. A lot of the Pokemon just can easily sweep at will. We have a defensive Pokemon in Lumina. We have Status Condition in Venus, and then we have Dragon Dance. We have we have a pseudo legendary. Like, there's just so many things in this team that I did well when making it. And I just gotta admire it, to be honest. I've always used Dragonite in Heartgold Soulsilver. I find it, like, level 55 is daunting, you know? You're probably gonna get to, like, the Elite Four and maybe other games, and that's about it. But I found this is the best opportunity to use it just because of how vast the post-game is. And probably one of the only opportunities we're going to get a chance to use it. You know, Emerald, you know, there is no Dratini. Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, I mean, like, you're not going to be able to use it. Black and White, you're not going to be able to use it. And then for the Gen 1 games, like, Kanto it's alright, but you saw our Pokemon when they got over here. They're only, like, high level 50s. They evolve at, like, level 50, so it's just like, you know, or level 55, and it's just like, you can't really do that. coming by. Communicating, Google standby. Kyrie gets paralyzed, gonna send out Squidward for the Ice Beam, and it's gonna hit, obviously, because we're paralyzed, and so the Dragon Dance strategy that I tried to go for, it gets cut short, but it did good work. I'm gonna send in Amethyst, and we're gonna go for like a quick little Psychic. And yeah, this fight, despite our little mishaps and their little mishaps, it's gone pretty smoothly. You know, it's still pretty even. We have 4, they have 3. Still easily, you know, can still easily make a comeback. Goes for a Toxic Spikes there. So I guess not really a comeback because I'm gonna one-shot this with a Psychic. Hopefully, I know. Squidward is a special wall, but hopefully I can get it. You know, I countered the wall with a just even harder hitting Pokemon, and it's going to be left at like 2 HP. But Sandstorm does come in. Sandstorm will knock it out. And Espeon is been taking these guys out since like, what, day 1? Since day 1 of an Espeon, not day 1 as an Eevee. And another communication standby, you know, I tried speeding up. But Darude is going to come out. It does have Crunch on it, so, you know, could go for that. Once again, I try and go for the Iron Tail here. I don't really plan on switching out. I'm at a point in time which I have so many ways of taking this thing out. And I just try and chip it down. The pseudo-legendaries, like, honestly, I will admit, in this fight, Tyranitar is probably the better pseudo-legendary, just straight up, but the strategy that I just used for Kyrie just kind of one-ups it. Like, would you rather have Weather or a Dragon type? And if Darude wasn't so slow, it would be so much better. But, you know, Tyranitar, for what it is, it's still really good, one of my favorites, just because of that Weather. One of the few times that I'll put Weather up just because it's an ability. I've mentioned that before, but I really only use Weather teams, or try and base a team around Weather, only when it's an ability that I can set it up with. So that's why I couldn't really set up Sunny Days for Venus's Chlorophyll or anything like that, because I don't like using moves to set up Weather. I think it's kind of a waste of turn. Speaking of Venus, I send her out, and I'm just going to go for a simple Leaf Blade. I outspeed it. Darude goes down. And I think at that point, like, I might have wanted to switch, but also I don't think there's anything they could have switched into. It's kind of the silly thing where a Salad is left, and that's it. And I also have a Poison type move, so it's kind of a defeat. Our Soulsilver team, like, realistically, like, don't let this 0-2 think it's bad. I do think this is a good team. It just, like, it could have been played a lot better. There were a couple of weird times where he just used a setup move at the wrong spot or something like that, but like, during the playthrough, I had a very easy time. I love, well, okay, before the Fairy type is my favorite type in all of the games, just because of how broken it is. But like, if you had to remove the Fairy type, my 2 favorite types would have to be Poison and Steel, because they're just defensive typings. And there's just a whole lot of things you can do with defense. I'm a very defensive-minded person, and yeah. Sludge Bulb's not going to take it out, but it does poison. And just like that. Like, if I had to go from, like, my top 3, it would be Poison, Steel, and Dark. Like, those are very gimmicky type. Dark is a very gimmicky type. Just the way Dark types play, it's a very tricky type to deal with. Like, if we were to move on to further entries, like Foul Play, or just this game's Sucker Punch, just Swagger. Well, Swagger's a normal type, but like still, they're just. I like using the fun types or the defensive types. You know, this last Sludge Bomb finally gonna take out Salad. Heartgold goes 2-0 and defeats Soulsilver, and a critical hit to end it off. What could I say? Didn't really use Fuego all too much. I don't think I used Fuego once. Not gonna save it this time. And that was our round robin. And with that, we have done every single possible fight with the trio. If you want to know, Heartgold won both sets. Fire Red went 1-1, and Soulsilver went 0 for 2. But anyways, that's going to be it. I've been having a lot of fun with this, but we got to end it eventually. So we will not see you next time. I was just about to say that again. Goodbye for now. That was our playthrough of Heartgold Soulsilver, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. This will be the last time you see the team, I guess. Yeah. Really enjoyed these guys.